Is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
There you heard it, declared vacant. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy now faces his final day in the third most important job in American politics, as he has just been ousted as Speaker, a historic vote and a move that hasn't happened, as we mentioned, in more than 100 years. Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl with us, along with our Rachel Bade, contributing political correspondent, also former Representative of New York Congressman John Katko, and contributor and former Senator of North Dakota Heidi Heitkamp. John, I'll start with you. More than 100 years since this has happened, and back then it failed. Tonight it didn't. Just put into perspective of what happened here tonight and the different turn that this took from the last time it was attempted in 1910.
I mean, we throw around terms like historic and unprecedented, but this is historic and entirely without precedent in the entire history of the United States of America and the U.S. Congress. We have never seen a Speaker of the House removed. It's only the third time that we've even seen an attempt, an actual roll call vote to remove a Speaker of the House. It's really quite a moment to behold. It's an outgrowth of the way former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy became the Speaker. He, of course, had to go through 15 rounds of balloting, won a very narrow victory, and only won that victory by granting a series of concessions to rebels within his own party, to Republican holdouts. And those concessions included what made this possible, the idea that a single member of the House could raise his or her hand and call for what is now we all know is known as a motion to vacate, a vote to remove the Speaker. And I thought it was interesting. We'll wait and get the final tallies here. I bet you Rachel Bade already has those. This was a very small group of Republicans in the end that voted to remove Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy. This happened because those hardline Republicans who opposed him were joined by Democrats in removing Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. This was overwhelmingly Democrats who made this happen, but it was initiated by Republicans.
So we'll talk about the numbers in just a minute, but John, basically, the House is now paralyzed. A lot of, everyday Americans might be sitting back at home saying, okay, I just see what happened. He got the boot, but what does that mean for me? It means legislation can't get passed, and this could be devastating for everyday Americans. So why don't we talk about the impact, right, of what this means now, just a political business every day, which trickles down to the average American.
Right.
And then we'll get to possible replacements. But why don't we start there, and I'll get everyone to kind of weigh in now on the overall impact of this.
Here's the remarkable thing about this. We're about to all get a civics lessons, the whole country. The House of Representatives, under the rules under which it operates, can do nothing until a Speaker is in place. Well, let me modify that. They can do one thing. They can vote on whether or not, they can vote on having a Speaker. But until the Speaker is elected, until somebody gets a majority of all those voting and a Speaker is elected, all they can do is vote again and vote again. They can adjourn for the evening, adjourn for the day, adjourn for the weekend, but they can do no business. No bills can be considered, nothing, until there is a Speaker of the House. Now, we saw how long that took in January when Kevin McCarthy was elected. It took several days, took 15 rounds of voting. Now it's not even clear who the candidates are. We're going to, I assume, very quickly find out. But consider that while you also consider that we just saw Congress pass and Joe Biden sign into law what's known as a continuing resolution, a temporary bill to fund the government for a mere 45 days. So that clock is ticking. We're now at, I believe, 43, 44 days of government funding before there actually is a government shutdown, before troops aren't paid, before national parks are closed down. And Congress can do nothing to avert that government shutdown until first electing a Speaker of the House.
All right, so then, Rachel Bade, let me take that to you. Who takes over as House Speaker temporarily until that spot is filled? And then we can talk about some of the names that have actually been floated.
Yeah, so temporarily, we're actually looking at Patrick McHenry, who's leading right now. This is somebody who's going to be sort of overseeing the process as Republicans sort of figure out next steps. It's a really sort of wonky and underreported procedure, but after 9/11, there was a rule written into the House code that basically a speaker can designate a bunch of speakers in waiting if he or she is incapacitated or, God forbid, actually dies. Well, we're in a situation like that, and McHenry has long been Kevin McCarthy's top ally, number 2. He helped him win the gavel in January. He's been with him very closely over the years, so I'm not surprised that McHenry is the one taking the reins right now. But the bigger question, of course, is what happens in the long term. I think the big question Republicans are asking themselves right now, and by the way, they're gathering right now in the basement of the Capitol. They will be very soon to have a conference meeting to discuss next steps, is whether Kevin McCarthy is going to step away, gracefully, or is he going to fight for this job? I mean, we talk about how today could very well be the last day of his speakership, but we saw back in January that Kevin McCarthy, when it comes to fighting for things, he's willing to actually do that. So he could try to make the case to his members in this closed-door conference meeting that he deserves another shot and have them nominate him to be Speaker again. We'll just have to see.
John, what do you think is going to happen?
An extraordinary dilemma that Kevin McCarthy faces. For him, after facing this incredible rebuke and becoming the first Speaker of the House in history to be removed. I mean, to hear that statement coming after the, after the vote was completed, that the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives is now vacant. I think it's very hard for him to jump back in and say he's going to fight for his job. It actually plays right in to the arguments that Matt Gaetz was making, that to Kevin McCarthy nothing matters more than being Speaker of the House. So we'll see, but it's a tough decision for him to make.
John Katko, what do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I think this is a very sad day, and it's emblematic of the polarization in Congress and extreme elements of both parties really kind of seizing the narrative, and that's unfortunate. This was kind of, everyone saw this coming when Kevin had to lower the requirements for the motion to vacate the chair in order to get the speakership, ironically. Before it was a much higher bar. Now it was down to only one person could make the motion. And when you have a small majority of the House, everyone saw this coming at some point, unfortunately, but it's still shocking to see. It's jarring to see the dysfunction within the Republican Party. And with, like, as Jonathan pointed out, there's so many important things to get done. And now we're going to have this battle within the House. And a couple of things that people should understand too. The proponent of this, Matt Gaetz, is under very serious ethics investigations as publicly reported. And they seem to be coming to a head, number one. Number two is he is fundraising specifically off of his filing of this motion to vacate, which to me is disgusting and disgraceful. And it's just emblematic of modern politics and how things just don't seem right in America with the way we're going about governing now. And this is another example of that. And it's very sad. I'm sad for Kevin. I'm sad for America, far more importantly. And I don't think this is going to help the Republican Party at all. Now, coming forward, what does the next person promise to get the seat? Are you still going to allow the far right to hold you hostage? Or are you going to say enough is enough and start governing more responsibly? Because I think they empowered the far right too much in order for Kevin to get the speakership.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.